So at the top of this booklet, on page 32, Gdsr. Okay. This is also very much happening in the real world. Okay, so pretty much everything you've been learning in this unit is a thing. Okay, it's not just theory, it's actually happening, and I'll tell you a bit more about it. The GDSR, the gross debt service ratio, is a key component of calculating if you can afford a house. It's almost like an affordability calculation. Can you afford it? Or how much you can afford to pay for a house, right? It compares the total cost of your monthly mortgage payment, taxes, and heating to your gross monthly income. And it's income from all sources. So if you're living, with a partner, right, and you're both going to sign for that mortgage, then both of your incomes will be included in this calculation. If you have your mom and dad co-sign for your loan, then the income of your mom and dad would also be included in this. Okay. A mortgage is the loan, obviously, you can take out to pay for a house. Okay. GDSR, monthly housing cost must not be greater than 32%. There is that. Okay. Focus. It must not be greater than 32%. That is a big deal for GDSR. Write down the 32% on your study sheet next to GDSR, okay? And I'll tell you why in a bit. It cannot be greater than 32% of your gross monthly income. And I don't know, net income is what you take home. Gross income is before taxes. So the bank is basing their calculation on your before tax income, okay? If someone's GDSR is 32 or greater, the bank will not approve the mortgage. Can I just change this a little bit? If someone's GDSR is, let's scratch this like this. I want to rewrite it. If someone's GDSR is greater than 32%, write that down, okay? The bank will not approve the mortgage applied for. Where does the 32% come from? Look at a pie chart, maybe. If you split this into thirds, right? Your income, let's say your income is 100%. The banks, they just want housing, right? They want anything you spend on housing to be only about a third of your income. Otherwise, they're saying that you're putting too much stress on your financial situation. And so you're more likely to default. What does default mean? To not pay, right? You don't default in the financial world is bad, right? You don't want to default on your mortgage payments. And so that's where the 32%, I know it's 33, but we want to be 32 or lower to be approved, okay? Monthly housing costs include your mortgage payment. Let's do this, payment, heating, and tax, right? I'm just going to summarize it with payment, heat, and tax is the thing that they consider. I emailed my banker again just before this lesson, so yesterday, and she got back to me almost right away and said, I asked, is the GDSR still a thing, or is it not happening anymore? She says, no, it's still a thing. We're still using this to figure out if you're going to qualify. But they also use your credit score. They use your net worth, all of that combined, not just the GDSR, okay? To calculate the GDSR, we use the following formula. So this is something, anybody have a formula sheet handy? Is this formula in there, GDSR? I don't know if you want to, it'll save you, oh, I have it right here. What am I talking about? Yeah, it is there, watch. So you don't really need to, if you have this formula sheet, you don't have to worry about writing it down. It's right there. Okay, perfect. Let's keep going here. We'll do some math. By the end of today, I want you to be able to calculate the GDSR. So I'm very mindful that I only have 20 minutes. Calculate the maximum monthly amount you're able to spend on housing. Like to do that, okay, to calculate the maximum that you can spend on housing, we'll use this formula. Max on housing, you take the monthly income and you multiply that by 0.45. Sorry, what am I saying? 32. Sorry, guys. Sorry. 32, because we're not talking property taxes now. It's this. So maximum housing, we use this formula. If the question asks you for the maximum mortgage payment, quiet. Maximum mortgage, right? Maximum payment. You go monthly income times 0.32 minus heat minus tax. That's how you would do that. So this is not on your formula sheet. So if you want to figure that out, notice that this comes down here, right? Same thing. So we subtract the heat and we subtract the tax to figure out how much is left to make your mortgage payment. So here we go. The Olivier's have a combined monthly, add that please. That should have been there. I have to be very specific on that. What's the opposite? What is yearly? Yearly is also annual. Annual, yearly is the same thing. But it's monthly in this case of 5,800 before taxes, that is. What is the maximum they could spend on housing? So maximum housing that you can spend on. So maximum housing is just their income times 0.32. And that is $1,856. They can spend that on the payment, on heating, and on taxes, right? These are, I know that there are more housing costs, but for the GDSR, it's only these three here. Okay. So this carries over to the next page, by the way. So let's keep this in mind. So maximum on housing. Next page. The Oliviers estimate that the houses they are looking for will cost approximately $180 per month on heating, and the property taxes will be $3,800 per year. What is the maximum monthly mortgage payment they can afford? Watch this. I'm going to highlight this. Per year. You can also say that annual, right? It's the same thing because later on they mix it up. Okay, so we got to go 3,800 divided by 12 first to get it into a monthly amount. Okay, that's very important with GDSR, monthly. So we have 316.67 per month. That's how we want everything in monthly amounts. So what's the maximum payment, mortgage payment that you can afford? max payment. We already figured out the income. Let's just do the whole thing. 5,800 times 0.32 minus the heating, which is 180, minus the property taxes, which is 316.67, right? This is what we calculated. We had to get it in a monthly amount before we do this here. So this is 1856 minus 180 minus 316.67. So the maximum monthly payment that they could afford is this per month. Take 32% of your income, subtract the heating, subtract the taxes. So you could get a house that has a lower payment, but you cannot go past this. That's what it's saying here. And before I move on, I want to highlight one more thing in our formulas. And that's where I would like you to copy the formula onto your study sheet, because you can do this. If you have a highlighter, I just want to make sure you make note that it's monthly, 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 and monthly. Everything is monthly. Per year, right? If you ever see per year, it's the same thing as annual, right? We divide by 12, right? That's a big note there. If they ever give you anything on a yearly amount, you have to divide it by 12. Okay. So I highlighted all the monthlies there. Should remember that. Okay, let's calculate. Let's actually do a calculation here of GDSR now. This is where the big formula comes in. What if the Oliviers find a home that they're thinking of buying with property taxes of $3,600 a year? So taxes, $3,600 a year. The heating is approximately $250 per month, and the mortgage payment is $1,450 per month. Calculate the GDSR for them. You do an inventory first. The payment is already in monthly amount, so $1,450 per month. Heating is $250 per month. Okay. Taxes, is that per month? It's not, so we need to divide that by 12. And that would give you $300 per month that you pay on taxes. Okay. What's the income? Because that's the last thing you need. What is their monthly income for the Oliviers? Previous page, what was it again? 5,800. I know I told you that on the previous page. It's 5,800 a month. I will say this, page 32, right? Let's make a little partition here. Once you figured all of this out, this is how you do your GDSR. It calls for payment, monthly payment on the mortgage, plus the heat, plus tax, divided by the monthly income. All of that times 100. So this is, once you plug it in, the rest is not that bad. You add these up, you get exactly 2,000, and you get 5,800, and you multiply that by 100. So if you divide this, multiply by 100, you get 34.48%. That's the GDSR for them. Let's see if you remember. Will they be approved based on this? It will not be approved. Okay, so that's what you have to say. You can't just say this. You have to say no, because the GDSR is above 32%. That's the important thing. If you don't mention it, you don't get the marks, okay? Okay, before we go, I will leave this up here because some of you need to maybe still copy it. I want you to try example 2. Okay, figure out the GDSR for that particular scenario. You can go now. You have 10 minutes, 3:20. A lot of you are going to go at 3:20. You have 10 minutes. I think you can do that in 5 if you put your mind to it, right? So this is the last big thing just before you go. I'm just going to do a silent lesson here, okay? To see if you got it right. Taxes are per year, so you need to convert that. The income is actually 5,666.67. So when you take your payment, heat, 67 over this times 100, you get 815.67, and that is 14.39%. Would they be approved? Yes, you're under 32%. And I know I don't do a whole lot of homework, but I will post the key. Page 35, 2 questions. You got to make sure you know how to do this, okay? It's not that bad as long as you make sure it's all monthly, right? And maybe have those formulas on your study sheet.